Sweet. Let's go. So this specific lesson is about financial modeling. This is the backbone of every single action you want to take when it comes to growing a business, running ads for a business, getting more deals for a business, because we're in the business of making people more money, right? There's nothing around it. You have to be able to flip money into more money. And it starts with awareness. You can't just guess what you need to do. People come in and they just guess. They think like, okay, yeah, I just need to run ads and just determine what the KPIs are and then just, just throw it and see what happens. No, fuck no. That's not what we're doing. We always make calculated risks. We always do the math of getting the highest probability of getting people the result that they're looking after. So the principle that we want to go that we want to go of is people just want to make more money. I don't care if you want to sell SEO. I don't care if you want to sell Google ads or whatever. We are in the business of making people more revenue. We are not in the business of just delivering random ass services. Fuck no, we don't do that. Okay. So for me to understand these things is like, okay, how do I make people more money then? Okay. And how do I get the highest probability of them getting the result that they are looking after? And the answer was simple, right? I need to understand, where do they want to go? How much money are they looking to make? And we always start with the end in mind when we are doing a financial model. Okay. So let me just financial model. It's a little bit big. Let me see if I can make it smaller. There we go. So we always would start with the end in mind. And meaning that, okay, if I want to calculate the potential growth that I can get, that I can make, the money that I can make for a business, I always look at what's the end? What is the end goal? What are we looking to make? What is the growth, right? Let's say that the business, just to make the math easy, okay? They're making $10,000 a month right now, okay? And that's $100,000 a year. And they're looking to make, right now they make $10,000 a month, and they're looking to make $100,000 a month. Now, that's a jump of going from $100,000 a year to $1 million a year. Okay. So what's the difference in there? So if we are going to look from a perspective of annual recurring revenue, it's 900 grand that you are looking to make for the business. Okay. So this is 100K a year. This is, and we're going to $1 million, right? A year. So that's a difference of 900 grand in annual recurring revenue, okay? So that means now that, okay, for this business, I want to make them 900 grand. And this is where the pricing comes from, because we talk price first. This is important. So from the 900 grand, I look at, okay, what's the average? So what's the probability of me hitting that goal for them and actually adding that 900 grand in an annual recurring revenue? And I always make sure that I'm extremely realistic and I'm extremely conservative when it comes to pricing my services, okay? So what I do when I make the projection, I make sure that I divide the 900 grand by 50%. Why? Because of the probability of it happening, okay? We have to grow to the 100 grand a month first. There are like bumps on the road as well. There will be some dips, whatever, and we're working on our way to the 100 grand a month. So the probability of us hitting 100 grand a month consistently from the get-go, no, it's just not it. We are conservative. So it's 50% off. That means that we have 450 grand left. Okay. And then what I always talk about the 10x principle. So the 10x rule. And the 10x rule is me adding 10x to the revenue, to 10x value to the business. So that's just a principle. We always want to add 10x what we charge to the business and give them the feeling of this is the value that I'm adding for them. And this is the price. So when this is the value and this is the price, that's when people buy, right? So now we have the 450 grand. That means that I divided by 10, right? When I divided by 10, now we have 45 grand. And remember, we all calculated it from the annual recurring revenue. So that means now that from the annual recurring revenue, we divide this by 12, by the 12 months, okay? So when I calculate that, let me just take my calculator right quick. That's around 4 grand, but we want to be accurate though. So that's around 3.5 grand, right? That's around 3.7 grand that we can charge the business on the monthly recurring revenue, right? So this is what you need to charge to get them from here to here. This is extremely important to know, right? Because people, they don't price off of, they don't do their pricing off of the value that they add to the business. They don't do that. They just come up with these random prices and devalue themselves heavily because we don't want to, lack for better words, fuck ourselves. No, we don't want to do that. We want to make sure that we charge what we are worth. Now, that doesn't mean that you need to charge the 3.7 grand. No, it's just for you to gauge if you are on track or not, if you are not fucking yourself or not, if you are like charging enough, because we don't want to lose money. Not that, right? So what we want to do here is that look at, okay, from the 3.7 grand, how much of that do I need to pay my staff for? Okay. If you have staff, if you have overheads, if you have setters, closers commission, whatever, you make sure that you agree on what you want to charge based off profit. Profit first. This is the principle that I go by, right? Now imagine from the 3.75 grand, you need to pay a contractor $750, right? So that means there's 3K left, okay? And then you have to, you have to pay some softwares maybe, and that's also $300. So that's 7.2K that stays, right? So that means that the take home that you have is 2.7K a monthly recurring revenue. Now, are you happy with this 2.7K? That's what you ask yourself now. Do I really want to make? No, I want to make 3 grand at least, right? At least 3 and take home. That means that right now, if you want to make 3 grand a month, right, in profit, that means that right here, your price needs to go from 3.7 grand to 4K per month. And you do that with every single like pricing structure. You make sure that you always operate under profit first. How much do I want to make? And we go from there. Now, this is the first part of the equation. Okay. How much do we want to make? Now we go a step further into the math that we need to do to determine, okay, how much money do I want to eventually make with all of the clients that I'm going to sign, right? So that's another math right there. So I call it the agency math, okay? Now we have the pricing done. So that was the pricing module right there. Does that make sense, by the way? Okay, so the pricing, that's just as easy as it is. That's the pricing. So you need to be aware of, okay, this is what I'm charging base of value, you know, and this is it. Now, we're going to determine the agency math right now. So, for example, Milk, you're in here, and you have to think, right? So let me just see agency math. This is a new thing. Now, when it comes to agency math, Milky, I want to do this exercise with you right quick. You can unmute yourself though, because I want everyone to do this exercise with me. So what I want to make sure that I get a clear picture of what you exactly want out of life this year and how much it would cost. Okay. So I'm talking about the cars, vacations, retiring your parents, whatever it is you want, we're going to make sure that we put it in our math here. So, okay. What kind of car do you want to drive this year?
G-Wagon.
G-Wagon?
Black G-Wagon, matte black.
Matte black, I like that. I like that. Okay, how much is your G-Wagon? How much is that per month if you pay it off?
God, how much is it per month?
Like I think even for $1,000, when you put down like I think 20 grandish or something, you pay like $1,000 a month for a G-Wagon, I think.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Just to make the math easy, because I've seen around 1.2K, something like that, right?
Okay.
So you can even pay 1 grand a month to get that G-Wagon, right? You pay 20 grand down though, right?
Yeah, that's that.
Always around that 10% mark, 15%. Now, G-Wagon, that is 1K, okay? So your car is 1 grand. Let me say the car is 1 grand a month, right? Okay, now you want to retire your parents this year, right?
100%.
So we are going to paint the picture of the potential. So how much would it cost to for the retirement?
You have to pay off their mortgage. So it's a lot. They have around like $200,000 left on their mortgage overall.
Okay. So you want to take that over. How much are they paying per month for that?
It's around, I think, a little less than 2,000 or something like that.
Okay,
2,000, no, it's 2,000. Yeah.
let's take two grand, okay? And then for them to live off of the money, like how much money do they need to have to live freely and to do what they want?
God. Oh.
Just a roundabout number.
Let's just say 10K.
10K. Okay. That means that 10K, that's for your mom and for your pops, right? So that's 5 grand, 5 grand. Okay. That means that it's 12K in monthly recurring revenue and monthly payout. Now, we're going to Okay. You want to go out and eat, okay, and you want to do groceries. So let's say you want to eat, how many times a week do you want to eat out?
As much as I could. No, I don't know, let's say 3.
3 times, okay. And the tab is like 150 bucks. Okay, that's like 500 bucks a week. Let's say that's 2 grand a month already. If you really want to eat lavishly and eat what you want, just eat freely. That's already 2 grand a month, right? And now we look at groceries. Like, okay, groceries, how much is that a month?
Close to, let's just say a little less than 1,000. I don't know, something like that.
One grand, okay.
Yeah.
So for food, every single month is 3 grand for a Milky. That's a lot.
I'm a foodie. I'm a foodie at heart. I'm a
That's
foodie.
good though. That's good though. Okay, so we have the car, we have the food, we have the retirement. Okay, now we have so for yourself, the house. Like, do you want to live in an apartment? Do you want to live in a penthouse? What do you want to live in?
Penthouse would be beautiful. Penthouse would be awesome.
Okay, so you want to live in a penthouse this year. So a penthouse where? What state?
Chicago, Illinois.
Chicago?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You want to be with the gangsters.
It's always been a dream. I don't know why Chicago's always drawn to me for some reason.
To risk your life in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so okay, house in Chicago. Let's say penthouse in Chicago. How much monthly is that?
God, I don't even know. Um, I don't know how much would that be, like 5K a month out of 4K a month. I don't know. I can't gauge these numbers.
4 grand a month for a penthouse in Chicago. Let me just look that up right quick. Penthouse in Chicago, just to get a roundabout number and make it realistic. Rent. Okay. Okay, let me see. Chicago. There we go. Yeah, yeah, it's 5 grand a month. About
Okay.
5 grand a month. Yeah. So that's good. So 5K a month. Okay, for the house. Now for your own freedom and vacations and stuff, because you want to fuck off sometimes. So how many times a year do you want to go on a vacation?
Mm, let's say 8, 9.
9 times. Okay, 9 times. So you need an Airbnb, you need food, maybe rent a car. So for every single vacation, you're going to drop like a bag of 1.5K. That's around it. Um, so that means 9 times 1.5 grand. Uh, nine, that's 13 and a half grand per year. So divide that by 12. That's around 1K a month to make the math make sense. Okay. And then for yourself, like you want to be able to set some money aside as well to further invest into your future, and that you stop working for active income at some point, right? That's something that we need to understand. Now, how much money would you want to save for yourself, right? To be able to invest in your future, in your retirement.
Let's say like yearly or like overall, just in general.
No, how much money do you want to set aside a month for that to invest
Say,
in your portfolio?
what's a realistic number? Mm,
Yeah. Like you need to think about these things. So also
that's
for
real.
like you need to think about, okay, when do I want to stop working for active income? And how much money do I want to invest into my portfolio of like real estate, or like S&P 500, just to make sure that I have some cash reserve there that can later on pay me out a certain dividend or a certain percentage so that I can live off of that money and I don't have to work for active income anymore. So for me, for example, I want to start working at the age of 40 already. See, so for me to do that, and with the money that I want to make, because I want to live off of 500,000 a month when I'm 40, I need to be able to invest at least 200 grand every single month. Yeah, for me to live off of 500,000, you know.
Right, right, because that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. So from now on, like for like 16 years. So I need to do that. Now, for you, it could be like you want to set aside like 20 grand a month, 30 grand a month.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
why do you want to do that? Is because like we don't work a job anymore. Like it's done, you know. Like we have to take care of ourselves now. See,
Mhm.
and having that long-term vision and a grand vision helps you with painting the picture of, okay, then this is when it stops and this is how much money I want to make. So for you, and it will grow with time as your revenue will grow, as everything will grow. But I think for now, like 20 grand a month, when you make, no, even 10 grand a month this year,
Yeah.
if you could put that aside into your future and just invest and come to the point where you can invest confidently and then grow that as your revenue grows, you know,
Mhm.
that's the sweet spot. That's where you want to be. So I would start with 10 grand for you, right? And
Okay.
also for the people watching, it's like it's a good thing. So for your own, um, let me say, how do you call it? I would call it like S&P 500, just to give it a name. And it's 10 grand a month. Okay. For yourself, we have to pay ourselves out. And think of the future us, the future Milky. Okay. So this together, this is everything we want out of life. Life doesn't get better than this, you know. One thing though, shopping. Shopping.
I was gonna say I was waiting on that category.
Yeah, yeah. There you go. There you go. Shopping. So that's also one. Like the frivolous bullshit that we put money towards, you know.
Mhm.
Every single month, how much money do you want to spend on, clothes, whatever, you know?
I have to put a limit on myself because I could spend everything on that. Let's say a month. God, let's just say 5K.
5 grand a month. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Shopping, going out, whatever. I would call it even going out
Mm-hmm.
because you also want to live. You want to feel good about the money that you make as well.
And I want to treat others too, spoil others as well too. So
Yeah, for others as well. So 5 grand a month to do that. Now, nice. Let's do the math. So we have 1 grand, then we have 12 grand, then we have 3 grand, then we have 5 grand, then we have 1 grand, then we have 10 grand, then we have 5 grand. That's 37 grand a month that you would need to make in profit to get everything you want out of life. Do you see how cheap that is? Almost.
thought it was gonna be a way bigger number. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, yeah. It's weird, right?
Yeah, very, very weird.
Like it's almost like you have to understand. You have to understand that this right there, okay, 37 grand, like it's on a yearly basis, that's like 400, that's 450 grand a year that you need to make to be able to retire your parents, get the car you want, you know, get the vacations, the house, you spend money on yourself, like everything. So now that we know exactly what we want, we can determine, okay, how much do I need to price my services and how many clients do I need to hit this number, you know? Let's round it off to 40K, right? You need 40 grand, Milky, for yourself, okay?
Mhm.
Let's say right now that your pricing, okay, per client, the money that you want to make is 4 grand out of that relationship. You could charge 1.5 grand a month as a flat fee, plus a 10% net rev share. And off of that rev share, you make the extra 2.5 grand. So you make your client an extra 25K a month for you to be able to get the payout of 2.5 grand with the 1.5 grand flat fee. And that results into the 4K that you make every single month off of one relationship with one client. And how many of these 4K would you need then?
10.
You would need 10 clients for you to have this, all of that. So you need 10 clients to pay you the 4 grand. Now, this is the math that I always do, okay? Now you can have 10 clients paying you 4 grand, but you can also have four clients paying you 10 grand, right? 10 grand, but that's a whole nother skill game. You can aim for both. It's both realistic to me, right? All you need to know is how to figure out how you make your client an extra 100 grand a month
Mhm.
and work with the right people. But for you, I think this is more realistic, you know?
Right.
So right now, as you're starting out, like getting 4 grand from a relationship in combination with a rev share, that's where you want to be. Now, an entire year to sign 10 clients. Can you do that in an entire year?
Way too long. Way too long.
Easy, easy peasy lemon squeezy. 10 clients in a whole year. Man, that's it. There's not even one client a month, right?
It's not. Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah, in every 30 days from every single sales call that you have and whatever. Like you need to make these things real. So to truly care about big numbers like that, if it is a big number even, you have to you have to break it down and dumb it down for yourself. Okay. So even this right now, this might be a roundabout thing, but if you're watching this or even for yourself, like you have to make sure that you do this accurately and look at the penthouse that you want to move into and look at hey, call the dealership and ask them,
Yeah.
hey, what's up? You know, like make sure that it's real for you. And then you have a crystal clear goal that you're trying to achieve for this specific year. People don't take action because of vague goals. They don't know what they want. They don't know what the end goal is. They don't even know why they're doing. Yeah, I want to make some money. Yeah, why? Ah, yeah, freedom. That's it, you know. Like there's no real, it's not real for them almost. And that's why it's hard to take action and to stay disciplined, to stay consistent, because they haven't painted that picture of, okay, what would I actually need to live the life and the quality of life and take care of the people that I want to take care of? What kind of money would I need, right? And even for this is profit. So in revenue, it's a whole different ballgame. So if you pay for if you have 40K that you need to make in profit with the overheads that you would have, okay, and with the taxes, let's say you pay 35% in taxes. Let me just make the calculations for you. So you have to factor in all of these things. So we have 40 grand. That's 14K in taxes per month that you pay to the government. So that's 55 grand, for example, right? 55 grand. Let's say the overheads then is 5 grand. That's like a total of like 60K, 60 grand in rev that you would need to make with your business. Okay. And that changes the math right now into getting more clients. Now you have to maybe tweak the number here to 6 grand, right? And you can move this number up. You can move this number up. And you can just start tweaking the whole process. See how much money you need to make from every single client to hit your goal. And this is where it becomes clear, because every single sales call that you have, every single interaction that you have with a specific client, you want to make sure that you communicate your own goals and your selfish reasons for you to start this specific relationship. Hey, Mr. Klein, my goal right now with you is to make, if is for you to pay me 6 grand a month from this relationship for me to be able to hit my goal, right? I know I'm charging you 2 grand a month as a flat fee, or 1 grand a month, or 1.5 grand a month, but I'm trying to hit 6 grand with the additional rev share that's in the contract, because I want to fight for that money. I want to make sure that we grow together, and I have an incentive to grow this business. Okay? Because incentives control what? Incentives control behavior. That's it. So you can always, even if they don't trust you, you can always trust a person's like selfish reasons for doing things. See, so me, when I step in, I tell them immediately, like, hey, like even right now, I bumped it up to 100. I tell my clients, man, I want to make 100 grand off of this relationship. I want you to be happy to pay me 100 grand every single month, you know, and pay me with a smile on your face. Because I'm going to push the hell out of this business. I'm going to make sure that I write the best copy, build the best funnels, write the best emails, you know, to flip that money into more money. And then they know, like, okay, now this guy is a beast. He's a beast. Like, he's an egotistical maniac. And I like that. He's a psycho, right? So that's where we want to be. And that's how you need to talk. Be fully transparent with what you want out of life. And that's how you bend reality. And that's the little trick that I use every single time I talk to someone. It comes out, it comes off dominant and stuff, but it helps because people like the transparency.
Mm.
See? So this is something that you really need to understand. Now, this is agency math. This is the math that you need to do for you to make it realistic in your mind and have aims. Look at, okay, how much do I want to make of every single relationship? What do I need to do? How many clients do I need? Boom, 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 boom. And we have something clear to work towards. No fake bullshit. No, now you know exactly how much money you would need, right? 60K in rev for me to live my life how I want to, and do it with 10 clients. That's what I want to do. For the rest, I don't care. Right? And there you go. Now, this is agency math. That's what you need to understand. Now we go into the math of getting into growing a business. Now we went into the financial model of our own, like the pricing, how we price our services. We went over the agency math to see how much we want to make, okay, for our own selfish reasons. Now we need to understand the math of, okay, how do we get our clients to make the money that they want to make? Okay, so we're going to go into the financial modeling in practice. Okay. Now, there are specific metrics that you need to understand when it comes to business. Okay. We are trying to make people more money, so we need to understand what all the conversion metrics are. That's one. We need to understand leads. Okay. We need to understand. I'm going to ask you, Milky. I'm going to ask you. Let's make this better to test your knowledge a little bit. So, like we said, we always start with the end in mind. Okay. We always start with the end in mind. Milky needs 10 clients, right? 10 clients to pay her 6 grand, right? Now, this is the outcome that we are looking for, okay? This is from the closed deals. So closed deals, okay? The closed deals that we need is 10 because we want to make 6K, okay? And therefore make 60K in rev, okay? So that means right now that what is the step above that, above the closed deals?
Qualify your leads, something along the lines of like qualifying your leads and seeing which ones will actually be able to pay the 6K a month.
Yeah, but I'm more talking about like this specific step here is the close rate, right? So we have the close rate. Let me just making a full so that you fully understand. This is the close rate. Okay. So the close rate stems off of the people that we get on the sales call, right? So the people that actually get on the call and show up. See, so that means that we need showed live calls. We call it live calls. Live calls. Now, this is the next step. Now there is a step above that, right? Above the live calls, we have the scheduled calls. Right? Because we have scheduled calls and then we have the people that eventually show up. So the determining factor here is the show up rate or the show rate to make it easier. And then we have the scheduled calls, and then we have I would say the cost per booked call, or it depends what type of funnel you have, okay, and what we're working with. Because if we are working with ads, then it's cost per booked call. If we are working with, let's say, video pitches, right, what everyone in this program might do, it's going to be the number of pitches that we send, right? So I'm going to put it into cost per booked call or number of pitches, number of video pitches, right? Put a V in here for video pitches. Now, and this is the leads that come in, right? This is the only thing that you need to understand is the number of leads that we need, the short rate that we need to know, and then the close rate percentage. So right now, let's say that the close rate is 10%, right? We're not that good of a closer. The close rate is 10%. Now, that means that for us to have to close like 10 clients, and we have a close rate of 10%, that means that we need 100 live calls. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? So we need 100 live calls if our close rate is 10%. Okay. And what if our show rate right now, to be conservative, is 50%, which is extremely low, by the way. That means that right now, if 50% of the people actually showed up from the scheduled calls, that means that we need to have 200 people that schedule a call with us. That means that we need 200 calls in that specific month. Okay. And then we determine, because the cost per booked call, right? We will determine like the cost per booked call, for example, is $100, right? For the cost per booked call. That means that right now we need to spend 20 grand on ads, right? If the cost per book call is $100, that we need to spend 20 grand on ads to get the 60K in rev. Or we look at the video pitches and we look at, okay, how many pitches do we need to send to be able to get the 200 calls? So we look at, okay, what is the response rate, okay, from the video pitches? Because this one, when it comes to the cost, because normally I always do it with the cost per book call, fairly easy because it's ads math. But when it comes to video pitches, which is a little bit more relevant for you, is, okay, video pitches sent. That's the first step. And then we have the response rate. Of the video pitches. And then we have the scheduled calls. And then we have the live calls. And then we have the closed deals. All right. So when it comes to the video pitches, we always want to make sure that we know these specific metrics as well, right? How do we know them? By doing the volume first to determine how many video pages we would need with the response rate that we have. Now, let's say that the response rate to our video pages is 5%. No, let's say it's 10%, which is pretty high because we are going to go over how to make sure that our profile is nicely set up and we make sure that we have the right way to reach out to people, okay? And to the right people. So let's say that the response rate is 10%, right? That means that the calls that we needed 200 calls. Response rate of 10%, that's two, well, let me just make it better. That's $2,000, that's 2K right here. And that means that, let's say, when the response rate is 10%, that means that we need to send 2K video pages in total to get to the 60K ref, right? Now, 2,000 video pages. That's pretty, if you divide it in a year, 365 days. That's 5 video pages a day to get to the 60K in ref. We send 10 to 20 a day, right? So you can do it in half. So now you need to understand what the inputs need to be able to get the specific outcome that you're looking for. Now, we've operated with a cost per book call of $100, okay? But that always is always different with every single client that you take on. When you get the metrics of your client and you ask them, okay, what's your cost per book call right now? And they say, okay, it's $150 right now. Then the math is different. Then you make sure that you put, instead of 100, 150, and then you do the math again, right? And then you determine here the ad spend that we are working towards, right? That's for your delivery if you're running ads, right? And here we did the same thing for the video pitches, right? That was $2,000 video pitches. Now, what we also want to do is also determine that when it comes to impressions, YouTube videos, when it comes to webinars, right? What we are going to go into as well, different conversion mechanisms, different funnels. Because right now we just did the video pitch funnel and we did the ads, we did the call funnel for when you run ads for clients. So do you understand this so far? Closed deals, live calls, scheduled calls, response rate, video pitches. Yes?
Yep, it's all making sense.
Okay. So we want to always make sure that we know the correct steps inside of the funnel. Okay. And it's as easy as this. That's it. And then when you have the webinar, is the closed deals, right? Live calls, and number of registrants. See, it's all the same math, but just a different tweak because of the different conversion mechanisms. Now, when you understand this and you know how to reverse engineer the goal every single time for your clients, right? That's where the magic happens. Now, this is the financial model that I do with every single client, every single one. I make sure that they tell me what their close rate is. They tell me what their show rate is. They tell me what their cost per booked call is and what their inputs are, what they're spending on ads right now. And once I know that, I make sure that I take the numbers, because if I know that their close rate is 10%, their show rate is 10%, 50%, and their cost per book call is 100, then I know that, okay, I'm trying to make this client how much money? Okay, I'm trying to make this client an extra 50 grand. Okay, but their ticket price is 5 grand. They sell a course for 5 grand, teaching people how to start their own nail business. So they get 5 grand per deal. Now that means that they need 10 clients every single month, right? To hit their 50 grand. And for me to get my money as well, to get paid the 5 or 6 grand that I'm looking to get from this specific client. And now I know that, okay, they need 10 clients. So their close rate right now is 10%. Okay, the close rate can go up because you can give them sales training, role play, whatever, you know. Show rate, we have a bunch of past practices that we're going to go over in the next lessons. And then we can look at, okay, their close rate is 10%. That means if we want to sign 10 clients, we need 100 calls. Okay, the show rate is 50%. Now I know that we need to aim for 200 calls on the calendar every single month, right? And to make it more digestible, we divide it by 30, right? That's 6 calls a week. 6 calls per day. My bad. 6 calls per day. So we need to be able to book on average 6 calls per day for this specific person to be with the current metrics to get 10 clients per month. So we need to aim for that, right? And then you can look at, okay, how many registrants would I need to be able to book the 200 people? How much would the cost per booked call need to be? And how much do we need to spend on ads to get the 200 calls that we need, right? How many pitches do I need to send to get the 200 calls? So then you can reverse engineer the math every single time with the current statistics and current steps of the funnel that we need to become aware of to be able to do the math alongside them. Okay. And then you know exactly what the KPIs need to be, because you can also tweak the close rate. Hey, we can get the close rate from 10 to 20% easy. We can get the short rate from 50 right now to 80% with the best practices that we have, right? And then you can tweak. Maybe instead of charging 5 grand of what you guys charge right now, let's charge 7 grand, or let's charge 10 grand and go after like fucking higher net worth individuals. For example, that's something that I did. I raised their prices. See? So those are all things all tweaks that you can make to the funnel steps to be able to hit that specific goal of 60K in rev. And that's where you start tweaking. Okay, do we need to get the price up? Okay, do we need to get the closing rate up? Do we need to get the leads up? And boom, 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 boom. What is the easiest thing to double right now? And the biggest lever is always, and it will always be price. That's the biggest lever. I always make sure that my clients charge more, or they come up with a higher ticket product at the end of the day. Sometimes when they have a big audience, like they can get away with lesser, with a low ticket product, but always make sure that you can tweak the steps inside of the funnel to make it realistic, to hit the goal, and to make it easy. Shouldn't be hard. Look for the easy ways to get to the goal by being clear on the math. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
So that's pretty much it for the math side of things. Let me see. Wow, that's that. 。 Let me just stop sharing my screen. There we go. Cool. That's that. Do you have any questions though when it comes to that? When it comes to the math, the steps of the funnel that you really need to understand, close rate, show rate.
I think no, I think it's explained perfectly, and like how in the beginning of the call you said the end is always in mind, and it applies to every single step, every single agency math, whether it's agency math or whether it's financial modeling or practice, the end is always in mind. I think that when you apply that logic and that philosophy, like it, I see how it's implied, and it makes sense, makes total sense to me.
Yeah. So even when we did the math for ourselves, like that's
Hmm.
the same kind of math that you want to do for your clients. You
Hmm.
want to
Hmm.
always make sure that we start with the end in mind. Always, always. And this with everything in life. Like you want to get to you want to get some, okay, paint a clear picture of where you want to go.
100%. That was the first time I've ever actually like thought out what exactly my goals are. Like, it's always like, oh, I want to be financially free, or oh, I want to retire my parents. But actually, like seeing those numbers, like that was the first time I've actually like encountered that, and it's
See,
attainable though. It's attainable, 100%.
100%. Now you see how close you are. You are 10 clients away. Like your brain does gog. See, your brain does,
100%.
what? I'm 10 clients? You don't look at the money, the 10 clients away.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
That's something different right there.
Yep. Yep.
And that makes it so real and just attainable.
Mhm.
And now you feel like,
100%.
hey, man, I just need 10 clients, let's go, right? And now you know exactly where you're running to.
Yeah.
You can when you
Exactly.
and that's the clarity that you need to be able to move forward because you know exactly what you want,
Mhm. Mhm.
exactly how to get it, how it's done. It's all makes sense, calculated, done. You go after it.
Right.
But it's pretty simple. It's really pretty simple. And
And the
then
reverse engineering makes sense of it all, and like you literally just work your way backwards, and like you're like, okay, this is where I start. And that's just like, I feel like that's a big, like, what obstacle I ran into and people run into, like, you don't know where to start, you don't even know where to begin. You have a goal in mind, but you don't have a goal in mind, so you quite literally just reverse engineered it all, and it's clear as day.
yeah. So in the next training, we're going to go over, let me just cut that up.